Caleb, I want to get to Nico Iamaleava. Tell me about Beats by Dre, which, by the way, is a very overhyped product. I'm sorry if you have them. I'm an audiophile. They don't sound that great. But if you want skull candy, which is really affordable, this is what I use. But anyway, Tennessee is pushing out the Beats by Dre. They want this to be a recruiting tool for the future. I understand all that. But has Nico been overhyped?
So Nico Iamaleava joins two other quarterbacks in this deal, which is Jalen Milroe and then Florida State quarterback DJ Uiagalelei. What stands out is obviously Milroe and Uiagalelei have started previous years, have had very successful seasons with previous teams. Nico Iamaleava has not started a year yet. But no, he's not getting too much pressure put on him. And I'm going to respond by saying, and I'm not just going to say this because of my expectations for him personally. If you didn't want to put pressure on him, if you didn't think he could handle the pressure, you shouldn't have given him $8 million. The minute you gave him $8 million, I think at that point, it is fair game to say, I expect everything from you. And there's precedent for this. LeBron James got an $80 million shoe deal with Nike before he ever played an NBA game. Guess what? That was pressure. Guess what else? He was the same age as Nico, actually younger, because he was a true freshman playing in the NBA because he didn't go to college. Oh, and he was playing professionally, not college football, not college-wise.
But Caleb, let me interrupt for a second. I'm talking about Tennessee specifically. They're the ones retweeting the Beats by Dre. I mean, back in the day, how did you handle it old school? Well, we hope he's okay. Or, we never know what to expect with a freshman. That's how you used to handle it. Every quarterback that I've ever covered that made his first start, including Casey Clausen against Alabama. Oh, we'll just see how he does. And this has been 180 degrees the opposite. And this is going to be the way it's going to be at a lot of schools. But I'm going to give you three options. It's not going to be this way at every school. I'm going to give you three options instead of just a yes or no. Has Nico been overhyped? And it's on our YouTube poll question right now. Yes, but it won't matter. Yes, and it could hurt him. No, he's just that good. So I ask you to choose from those three.
No, he's just that good. And if it hurts him, I don't want him as my quarterback. Now, I'll back up. I'll say this. I have seen quarterbacks get overhyped who can be good, and it hurt them. The most obvious example is Eric Ainge in 2005 when Philip Fulmer said Eric Ainge has all the qualities Peyton Manning has. And then Eric Ainge just kind of collapsed. But I will say that...
in all fairness, he did. I mean, physically, probably not mentally. No, and it's not a knock on his intelligence, but just the way Peyton processed things was pretty crazy. I mean, I get it. But he's not Peyton Manning.
No, and also I thought Peyton Manning, was just to wrap this, I thought he was significantly more accurate too. Peyton Manning's accuracy is the most underrated part of his games.
I'll totally give you that. Misstep by Dave. Totally give you that.
Yeah. So when you take that into account, I've seen it happen, but I've also said that, look, man, but wasn't it Harry Truman who said if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen? And I'm just saying that I think that sometimes it's fair to put expectations on players, even if they're young, if they're making this money. I support their right to make the money. I support Nico Iamaleava's right to make his money. I also support massive expectations for this guy because he's making this money. I'm not one of those, let's throw the young guy in and see what he does. Can't wait to see the young guy play. No, I'm not giving him the whole young guy leash. I'm giving him the whole, I expect everything from him this year. I don't expect growing pains at all.
Okay. Other than his ability, I want you to tell me why you expect that. What has changed in football where you expect it? And I want you to think about this, and don't give me the Iowa game, because that Iowa game, you and I with some speed training probably could have gotten on that defense at some point next year. So don't give me the Iowa game, and don't talk about his ability or his ranking, but give me the reason why Tennessee would hype him as much as they have as opposed to years past when they wouldn't do that. What's changed about college football? That's today's tough question, brought to you by Work Trucks, all about trucks, right truck, right place. Work Trucks, all about trucks that are actually available. That's tough. If you're a contractor, you know that. Trucks that help you maximize your profits by having the right work vehicle now. Time is money. The perfect work vehicle doesn't break down and has all the space to carry what you need. That's what Work Trucks is intent on offering, while other dealerships just can't do it. Contracting about time, Work Trucks saves you time with less back and forth trips, and trucks pass the highest standards to be put to work. The process quick and easy when choosing a vehicle from Work Trucks. With the NAPOD work bodies, they've got cranes and dump trucks. No dealership run around. You can be on the road tomorrow. Go to Work Trucks with an X, LLC.com. Work Trucks with an X, LLC.com. Clinton Highway in Knoxville, downtown Birmingham. Man, why risk chancing your future in business with the wrong piece of equipment? Work Trucks, LLC.com. Proud supporter of the Tennessee Vols. They'll make sure they fit your need to a T. So what's changed in 10 years? What's changed from sharing on the University of Tennessee Twitter feed, which might as well be just a sports information feed? I mean, that's what it's become. And sharing that, what has changed where we suddenly say, no, he's going for a world record, which would be to win a championship at Tennessee. It only happens about once every half century. He's going for a world record, but no, let's put the bar just a little bit higher. Why?
All right, here's what's changed. And this is actually evident in the NFL, but it's going down to college. The development process of quarterbacks now, and this is so funny you bring this up, Dave, because I just watched Tom Brady and Peyton Manning both be interviewed by Stephen A. Smith over the weekend, and they talked about the changing ways in quarterback play. Tom Brady thinks quarterbacks are now poorly coached, which is what leads to poor red zone offense in the NFL. Peyton Manning says systems are designed around quarterbacks now, and he doesn't blame coaches for doing that. Where I'm going with that is coaches now have created so many different offensive systems that you can plug the guy with the right physical tools in, that it's not about developing over the course of 4 years. When David Cutcliffe was offensive coordinator, you saw it, Dave. I mean, you watched Peyton Manning. I actually saw it more with Eric Ainge. I will say that. Like, he had Eric Ainge basically kind of evolve from a standard drop back passer, do what you're told from the sideline, to running the no huddle offense by the end of 2007. And that, kind of, you throw a little bit more, throw a little bit more until they're ready. I think Steve Sarkisian still does that. But so much of football now is the coach says, I have this system, and I'm just going to go find the quarterback with the physical tools to fit the system. And they're not going to really have to learn too much. I'm just going to tell you right now, that's what Andy Reid did with Patrick Mahomes. He said, I'm going to make my system, I'm going to tweak it, and Patrick Mahomes will just fit it because he's just that good. But if this were the NFL 15 years ago, Dave, I think Patrick Mahomes might be your run-of-the-mill average quarterback. I don't think he picks up that much.
Oh, well, we'll have to differ on that. I want to go to our message board. A couple of great points brought to you by TriStar Hats. For the latest in TriStar Hats, go to the original hats, apparel, and more. TriStarHatsCo.com, TriStarHatsCo.com, and they're going to be everywhere. Use the promo code HOOK for 10% off. Dylan, great point. Football has changed a lot since Peyton. Nico was back up to Bryce Young, and high schools has been playing 7-on-7 for years. We're expected a lot of Nico because he's been that good everywhere. Good point. Now, Lance says Nico's performance factors into the hype. I guess I'm in the minority because I knew he would play that well against Iowa. I had no doubt in my mind. And as a matter of fact, if Iowa had any stones, he would have thrown for about 300 yards, but they were playing soft because they knew they could get the doors blown off of them. So here's basically what you're saying, and what Dylan's saying on our message board is that as long as you're big enough, you can step in and play quarterback right away because you've learned it from 7-on-7. The only possible pitfall, Achilles heel that you might have is lack of toughness, where SEC teams knock the hell out of you 20 times a game instead of you were getting hit once or twice per game in high school. Is that pretty much now the determining factor? Are you tough enough to stand in the pocket? Because everybody's not.
That is a great question, but I honestly think that's where you can't throw the Iowa game out, because Iowa, whatever you think about them, yes, they play a soft zone coverage. They're a slow team. Gosh, I feel like I'm using all like the racial stereotypes for Iowa's defense, because I'm saying they're slow, but they're tough, and they play. You know what I mean? They play with
the whole white thing. Every guy, his dad was a coach, and they were gym rats. And yeah, I know. I know. I make fun of all the stereotypes all the time.
Yes, but Iowa's defense is that. It is, they're slow, but they're really tough, and they don't play out of position. And Nico was willing to run a lot in that game, and he took a lot of hits, and he got back up. And see, the thing about the Iowa game, Dave, this is the crazy part. They play a soft coverage, yes, but you know how hard it is for a freshman with Nico's ability to willingly take what's given to him in his first start?
I thought that was the most. I don't care about his arm. I don't care about his running ability in that game. The fact that he didn't say, it's Nico Day, I'm here, I'm going to throw for a lot of yards no matter what defense you give me. His mental approach and how he managed that game, and I know it's a bad word to call somebody a game manager, but in that case, that's what Tennessee needed. He did that perfectly.
Perfectly. And by the way, I don't care if this was senior Peyton Manning, he would have had to play that game the same way because of how Iowa played its defense. I mean, I don't care if it's Aaron Rodgers in the NFL. How Iowa play that defense, you don't take the shots downfield. Nico said, you're going to leave this open for me? I'll take it. And this is where Nico is actually different from what I just talked about, which is that the problem with this system quarterback play now, this era of system quarterbacks, which all coaches are doing from college and up, because you're not developing them, Dave, you notice that when you get to the red zone offense is really bad in football right now. I don't know if you know that. It's horrible. And because red zone offense, it doesn't come down to the system. It comes down to the accuracy of the quarterback and understanding what to do.
You know, I thought about this yesterday. You know, I think it is. I think it's just more athletic dudes playing. There are more football players because the population's grown, and it's easier on offense. All 11 people have to do something right. On defense, only one person has to do something right.
Well, yeah,
I think they're more I think they're more elite athletes. And you brought this up yesterday because the population's just growing.
That's true too. But I also think quarterbacks aren't being coached to do like basic fundamental things that they were coached to do 15 years ago, because the coaches are now just like, I'll just plug them in my system and make them work. Nico is the guy, and he showed this with Iowa, that when he gets to the red zone and things get tight, he'll still make the right decision, and he'll still make the accurate pass. The physical stuff we knew was already there, and he willingly took hits from Iowa. So I saw that, and I say, I don't know where his game is missing. I don't. And so maybe he was too quick to run rather than go to the second read. That might be a problem. But honestly, I thought he was going through his progressions in that game, Dave. I thought Nico actually made calculations. I can get more running than I can go into my second read here. And that's what I saw.
All right. Fair enough. Now, that was a pretty hot first segment. I'm going to go ahead and tell you. So go ahead and hit that like button if you haven't yet. And if you haven't subscribed, we're blowing up. And I haven't told you yet, Caleb, but if you're not subscribing, you don't have your notifications on, you're not going to know. But we have a very special guest coming on, a current Tennessee player that we're going to visit with today. So we look forward to that. And it's a guy that we've talked about a whole lot. Dylan, thank you for saying this. I thought the whole point of being a quarterback was to be a game manager. Yes, but sometimes guys say game manager. No, I'd rather be a Mike Vick type. But no, game manager has different connotations for different people.
But there are game managers who their job is to not mess up. Trent Dilfer was a game manager.
Right. He's not Trent Dilfer.
Yes, he's not Trent Dilfer. Yes.
Right.
Trent Dilfer, basically, I know this. The Ravens would say, hey, and he would say, how many points do you need us to get you, defense? And they're like, get us about 10 in this game and we got it covered. They would literally spot, like, just get to this number and we got you covered the rest of the way.
I wonder how many times that defense outscored its own offense. That was a pretty good football team. I had a chance to cover those guys back in the day when they were battling with the Titans. And
don't remind me of that playoff game.
Eddie
George was.
Oh, I was there. I was. Who missed the field goal at the end?
Del Greco had it blocked.
No kidding. Accidentally took the elevator down with Al Del Greco.
And he knew he was going to get cut, right?
It was the quietest elevator. It was me, like a sports information person, and him.